for joining me, guys and girls, for another episode of Dad's Toy Garage. And today is very exciting because this is the last time you're going to see Project Judith Ann in this primer gray. Next episode, we're getting color on here. Today we're going to be doing wet sanding, and the final, it'll take out any of the imperfections. You'll see how that works. I got a special shipment from Techno Toy Tuning, and we're going to install some of those parts today. So let's get right into this. The faster we get this done, the sooner we get to paint. The top's being blocked out. I've retaped the line so we don't lose it, and I've put some guide coat down, so I'm going to block sand the bottom half. It's pretty low down with a lowered car, so we're going to get on that. Making progress. It feels a lot quicker doing this than doing the actual body work, because now I'm just doing the final refine. Whole side of the car is done. Got this half of the cowl and the roof edge done. My dad did the roof. He got that ready for primer. The trunk's done. The roof valance we're not going to touch. It's all been scuffed and I blocked initially. Hood is done. So all we got left is front spoiler, the cowl half and the pillar, and everything on the other side below the body line. So that's coming along quite well. And again, this is 320 grit sandpaper on a block and guide coat. I'm on the home stretch now. Got this top portion done above the tape, and just all I really got left for 320 grit is the bottom half here. And once that's done, we're going to be doing the spot priming and the final sanding. And the final sanding is the wet sanding, 400 and then 600, and then paint. Got my Techno Toy Tuning order unpackaged here. So a cool sticker, and these are the roll center adjusters. I love anodizing, so these look cool. And I believe the instructions for them with new hardware, hypercoil springs, and we'll get you a part number for that. 18SN-325. They are 325 pound springs. I don't have the Techno Toy Tuning coilovers, but I want some bearings in there, so I think my coil diameter is the same. We'll see if we can get these to work. And KYB AGX adjustable rear shocks. So that should dial in the suspension at this point. There'll be more coming down the road, but that's what we got right now. I decided to get these rear shocks adjustable because I'm not sure how the damping front to back is going to compare, but maybe we can balance out the car a little bit better that way. Got the car masked off. I'm set up to do, hopefully, the very final primer. I want to get it painted next week is the goal. So you can see I've taped off a couple of items here where I'm just going to spot prime. And they're just little things, like here's a spot that went through. It's very fine, some of these. I want to get some of these transitions just to spray those in. And after this, we'll wet sand it down in 400. So then I want to hit the blue tops of the fenders. And here is high build and epoxy, so I want to spot prime these areas, or maybe I'll just hit the whole hood, I'm not sure yet. Just so that we get all epoxy, so that when the base goes on, all the, substrate, everything underneath is going to be consistent. The color lays down consistent. So then we'll do 400 wet sand, and then I think it's a hand sand with 600. We'll see. My dad's going to be giving me some tips on this as we go along here. All right, we're going to get some primer on the needed spots. I showed you guys where they all marked. I pulled the tags off now, and we're going to let her rip and get this done so we can start the wet sand. Primer's done, and this is super straight. There's lots of hours in getting this piece straight. Here, look at that, guys. I'm so happy with that. Then we'll go look at the car. This roof, tons of hours. But the hood, I'm so happy with it. That line down the middle is straight like an arrow. The hood is so level. The sun's setting, but we'll get what we can get here. Try and find you guys the right angle to see how straight this body's become. I'm pretty excited with how it's turned out. See if I can get the body line in the right light here. It's kind of hard. There we go. On the other side, got a little more sunshine here. So wet sand is next. My dad figures we got 4 hours before we're ready to paint. Right, found an angle that works. There's the body line that I wanted to show you guys. Very happy with that. Both sides are about the same. It probably would bounce. That's how the whole car is bouncy at those parts. Put the old stuff out. New stuff is ready to be installed. And the other thing I want to do is, whatever the tallest spring is, maybe I'll just put the hyper coils in, we see. But whatever the tallest spring is, I'll raise the front coils up all the way so the car sits taller. It'll be easier for painting rocker panels. But I do want the shocks in before we trailer it off to the paint booth. This is an original KYB Toyota shock. From what I can tell, still got the paint on there a little bit. Kind of neat. But if you look at these side by side, here's a new short stroke for the lowered stance of the car. And these are the KYB AGX rear shocks. And these are the heavy duty rear springs, and these are the ones I'd cut to the right height. And I keep saying Maximum Motorsports because my last Mach 1 was a fully built autocross car with their parts. I talked to Techno Toy Tuning, and they suggested I run these to keep the same ride height once the car is fully loaded. So we're going to put that in and see where it ends up after the car has got its glass and interior in the back here. Gas tank's in, so it's really just the back seat and windows for the back end to bring the weight down in the back. The front will be the engine, obviously, but there they are, hyper coils. Yeah, I got my son as my camera guy today. When you get brand new shocks, you got to prime them, and that just pretty much means compressing them and then letting them do their thing to come back out, just to get the air out of them. So that's what we're doing now. So we got our old spring here, got our hyper coil here, and I'm just going to reuse the rubber insulator for now. Just put those on there, and that will keep the car a little quieter. On some race cars or performance cars, guys go without these. I'm not that concerned about making it a race car, but I don't want it to be crazy loud. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go throw it in the car. So we got the new springs, hypercoil springs, and KYB AGX shocks in the back. And I like it. I should be able to reach over, adjust these. The reason I got adjustable is so that I can tune it to the front damping, so we can kind of get it to match that way. And got my kids in the background. They're just playing with the old parts that came off. They're doing parts store, so having fun with that. And yeah, they're in there. They look good. Thank you, Techno Toy Tuning, for sending that over. I've just made my car most likely into 4x4 status by bringing the coil spring up as high as I'll get it. And the reason for that is I want to be able to paint as easily as possible, like under here and under there on the rocker, just to get the car up taller. We'll start with that and see how tall it gets. Not Stance Nation, but that's not the point while we paint. Dad's down again, and you want to tell what's going on?
We are guide coating for wet sanding. So this will tell you if you've got any imperfections left, which I think are very few.
But why would somebody want to guide coat a car, like wet sand a car? What's the reason?
You want that glass finish. That's what we're doing here.
That helps take texture out, I guess?
You will have no orange peel left on there. So this will look very nice when it's done.
Pretty excited.
Block, wet sanding, 400. This is your sponge, and all you want to do is you want to keep your area wet. So you put the water down, and you just sand away. And as you look right into it, you will see any areas now that we want to flatten out, and that'll look like that.
And I'll give you lots of primer to work with.
So when that is gone, which is just about here now, like I said, 2 hours to do lots of finishing on here. And all the edges you do by hand. What we're doing now is we hit it with 400 block. All we're trying to do is give it a 600 finish. And that's where your gloss and your all of that extra glass finish is going to come from. This is something I've taken up in future or previous projects, and it's given us some real nice finishes. And this is what you get. It looks so nice.
And it's like, well, I guess that's what we'll see in the paint booth, eh?
Yep, and it's wet, yeah.
I don't see any ripples there. I just washed the car down, and this is 600 grit sanding. I had no idea how crazy smooth that would look. I'm pretty excited to put some paint on there. Well, thanks for joining me and my dad in the shop, getting the car ready for paint. It's been a long 5 years to get to this point, but fun most of the steps of the way. I mean, it's got its challenges. But next time I get to bring to you paint. We got the trailer secured, a booth secured, so that's all pretty cool. I'm excited that that's come to this point. Something else I've been doing is YouTube Shorts. I just started doing it, and it'll be just project updates. If you want to get a quick update on bits and pieces of this build, it'll be little 20-second videos. And also, if you really like what I'm doing here and you want to see more of it, just don't forget to hit the bell, like and subscribe, and that also lets me know that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. And yeah, so until next time, we'll talk to you later. I got my son as my camera guy today. So we got the spring here. Rubber, this goes up, this is down, and you're not looking at me. You can't look at me with the camera. So we got the spring's gonna go in now. Is the camera filming? At me or at my feet?
Yeah.
Can you see what my hands are doing in the camera?